If you were like me when I was a beginner intactivist, one of the many things you will hear throughout the intactivist community is that Intact America pays their staff members quite well. Well, I've been wanting to make a video about how much Intact America's salary is for some time now. While doing research, I've noticed this trend on how much Intact America's staff truly gets paid. But before I begin, I would like to remind you guys that I'm not a tax expert or a CPA, so for legal reasons, this is just for entertainment purposes only, and hopefully we can have a discussion about it. And I would love it if you guys could help me make sense of some of the things that we're going to be discussing here today. So one thing that I've noticed is that everywhere I looked for Intact America is that the compensation that they give their key employees and officers, this is on Nonprofit Explorer, is that it's zero compensation down the line for their chief financial vice chair, president, even board members, director. No one in Intact America is getting paid. Again, I was like, well, that's kind of odd, right? Like, I keep hearing that they get paid. Again, I checked on Charity Navigator. This is Intact America Incorporate. It's the same company, nonprofit, right? Salary of key persons, data available. Zeros across the board. Again, this is pretty confusing for me for three reasons. One reason is that Georgianne talks on Brendan Murata's podcast about why it's good to pay for professionals in movements. This was released 4 years ago, March 16th, 2021. I'm going to go play a little clip for you guys.
We need are obviously the resources we have are obviously a factor, because another thing that's interesting about intactivism is that I got a note the other day from somebody who said was referring to somebody else in the movement and said, I thought this person was working out of the goodness of his heart, not because he was getting a paycheck. And I thought, wow, like we're still the mentality that you have to work for free for it to be valid. And you look at these big movements that have succeeded, whether it's civil rights movement, whether it's the LGBT.
All right, so Georgianne Chapin, she talks about money in activism movements up until 45 on the timestamp. So an extra 16 more minutes of her explaining why it's good to pay professionals. So that's interesting that she's talking about, hey, it's good to get paid for your work, but yet she's not compensating anyone from Intact America. All right, that's one. Also, before I continue, guys, hey guys, go check out Brendan Murata's rest of his channel and make sure you go ahead and subscribe to him and like his stuff. He's a really cool dude. Definitely go ahead and follow him. Brendan Murata makes awesome podcasts and he does a lot of intactivism content. So if you like intactivism content, definitely go ahead and follow Brendan. All right, and another confusing thing for me is that the Hudson Center also doesn't give compensation either. At least that's what it looks like. Whenever you go to the Hudson Center for Health, Equity, and Quality Incorporate, you can go down here for salaries of key persons, that available, $0 for everybody right here. So that's really weird, right? Like, oh, we need to pay for professionals, but yet no one's getting paid. So the Hudson Center doesn't get compensated either? Question mark, right? Kind of confusing. Another thing that's really interesting that I think that someone has to be getting paid somehow, some way, is because the Hudson Center, if you look up where it's located at, it's located in Tarrytown, New York, right here. Going to Intact America, once again, Tarrytown, New York. So why is that important? Why does somebody need to be getting paid in Tarrytown, New York? Tarrytown, New York cost of living is astronomical. Like, it is crazy how much you need to make. $12,000 a month if you have a family. It's over double more expensive than the national average. So you need to make a total of $142,000 a year for a family. The cost of living score is 57% higher than the US average. It's even 29% higher than the New York City average. So it is super expensive to be living in Tarrytown in New York. So that's why I feel like somebody needs to be getting paid here. If it's not, you know, the director, Georgia Chapin, it has to at least be the employees, right? Like, how are you living in New York of Tarrytown? How are you living in Tarrytown, New York, right? If you're just not getting paid, if you're running two big companies and you're just not getting paid anything, that's very interesting. But then again, there's zeros in the salary. And another reason why I feel like Intact America is giving salaries out or some kind of compensation somehow to their staff is because lots of Intactivists are telling me that Intact America staff people are getting a paycheck. So can they all be wrong? I mean, that's a pretty big thing to be like, oh, these guys are definitely getting paid, and then them not getting paid. So those are my 4 reasons why I looked into this a lot deeper. So there are actually 3 theories that I've heard, and some I came up with. One is that the Intact America employees are getting paid under the Hudson Center theory, which makes sense. The Intact America is right under the Hudson Center when you look them up on GuideStar. So if you go here, Intact America, it says Intact America, Hudson Center for Health, Equity, and Quality, Inc., Intact America, right down here. So that would make sense of, hey, people who are working at Intact America is getting paid through the Hudson Center. Right. Also, even James Lowen had references to them being a single entity. However, right here in number 5, I've covered this already. You guys can read this if you want again. I'll move it up so you guys can read it. It's right above my head. But once again, the Hudson Center apparently isn't paying anybody any compensation whatsoever. Now, however, it is saying that the amounts do not include non-taxable benefits, deferred compensation, or other amounts not reported on Form W-2. So theoretically, these guys could be getting compensated. Theoretically. Same thing with Intact America, right? Now, this is getting quite confusing, right? And I was confused too. So I went to the irs.gov and I checked out Intact America Incorporate myself on the irs.gov website. And I checked 2021. I'm just going to do 2021 and 2022 of Intact America just to let you guys know. That's actually the only thing you can really get from them, actually. But if you go down, you can see how much these guys are getting paid. And once again, 0 across the board. Chief financial, vice chair, everybody. Even estimated amount of other compensation from the organization and related organization. Zeros. All zeros down. Like, they're getting paid absolutely nothing according to this IRS tax return. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome, right? I guess they don't need a paycheck. I even checked again. This is Intact America 2022. Here's our organization right there. Okay, so I went down here, checked it again, all zeros across the board, D, E, and F. It's all zeros. No one's getting paid anything at Intact America, apparently, right? And again, I went and I checked the Hudson Center for Health, Equity, and Quality Incorporate. Okay, and I checked their Form 990s filing for 2021 and 2022. So this is 2021. Look at that. All zeros. So no one's getting compensated with anything here. And again, we go to 2022. All zeros. So that kind of takes the wind out of theory number 1, that the Intact America employees are getting paid under the Hudson Center theory. And theory number 2 is that Intact America employees and the Hudson Center employees get paid by paying themselves through contracted work. Now, is that even legal? Is it legal for you to go ahead and contract with a board member for services? Well, if you go and check this online from the Maryland Nonprofits Home of Standards for Excellence Institute, it says, can a nonprofit organization contract with a board member for services? This was written in 2018. It says, attorneys, accountants, and other professionals can contribute valuable expertise to a board. In the best case scenario, it would be nice if their services would be given voluntarily. However, that's not always feasible. if you read down here, it says, in most instances, there is nothing unlawful about an organization transacting business with an insider. The fact that a conflict exists does not necessarily mean that the organization shouldn't proceed with a specific action or transaction. Rather, what is important in these circumstances is assuring that such transactions are scrutinized to determine whether the action or transaction is in the best interest of the organization. Generally, a conflict policy will use a combination of disclosure and independent review and approval to evaluate potential conflicts. Also note that even if your organization properly follows your conflict of interest policy, contracting with a board member could raise questions in the community. Generally, if you wouldn't want to read about it in the newspaper, don't do it. Now, if you saw my other video, you would know that Intact America sometimes does things that would raise eyebrows in the community. I mean, the 55 questions written by James Lowen, both eyebrows of his are definitely raised right now. It is indeed possible, though, that Intact America could be contracting themselves to do Intact America work. So if we go back down here, so if we go to the statement of functional expenses, this is of Intact America, this is 2021, you will see on total expenses under A that their management fees for services non-employees, their management is $411,000 for the year. That is a lot of money going into management. I mean, Intact America is a suite. It's like a little room in Terrytown. But $411,000 went to management. $14,000 went to legal. Now, who here could do legal stuff? Well, Georgianne Chapin, she's a lawyer. She could fill that legal role. The accounting had nothing to it, which is interesting. I'm surprised that they have put nothing for the accountant. Now, if you go to other, the fundraising and marketing, could they technically go and hire themselves or contract themselves to fundraise and market for Intact America? I'm pretty sure they could totally do that if they want to. I'm not necessarily sure, but according to that article, if you feel like you could go ahead and market and fundraise, why not go ahead and get a couple extra $1,000 if you can contract yourself? But the thing is, though, is I'm not really sure if this went to other people or if it went to them. And I don't even know if that even makes it sound better, because like back to this management under 11 alpha, $411,000 going into management in 2021. That's a lot of money. That's a house. That is a very, 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 very nice house spent in 1 year. Again, if we go to 2022, their management is over $400,000. Again, this is their fees for services for non-employees. I don't know what Intact America is spending. Like, who's the manager here? Like, who, is this going to one or two people who are managers? Like, is this like the social media managers? Is this being split up amongst the social media, the booth manager, the planning manager, whatever kind of managers you have? Because if you go back to Intact America, they have a lot of managers, right? So maybe that's how they're contracting themselves, right? I mean, it's totally in the realm of possibility, because $400,000, that is a lot of money, right? I mean, even if you split it up between 8 people, that's $50,000 a year, which kind of makes a lot of sense, right? $400,000 in management. Once again, I'm not really sure what that is. And granted, I don't even know if they would be allowed to do that. Once again, guys, this is just a theory. It's spectating. And once again, you have legal right down here, $25,000 roughly. Could Georgianne offer her services for legal because she is a lawyer and she has studied law? I'm pretty sure she could if she wanted to. So, yeah. So this could be a way that Intact America is getting paid. Once again, I'm not sure. I'd like to reiterate that. But it's interesting that they are spending more on management than advertising and promotion, because honestly, Intactivism is an advertising game. It's what it is. And you spent $64,000 on advertising. You spent almost as much on conferences and conventions and meetings at $42,000. Like, where are you having your meetings at? You guys going to Hawaii? Like, I don't know. But point being, or maybe they had somebody who planned the meeting. Like, once again, who knows how this money's getting spent? I'm not sure. I wonder what you guys think on what's going on here, and if you think that Intact America is paying themselves through setting themselves up to be contractors. That's definitely a theory. I'm curious what you guys think. But yeah, I'm not going to go through all of this. I might make this into another video. I'm trying to keep this video short for right now. Again, if we go to the Hudson Center, look at this, guys. The management for Hudson Center is $1.4 million. Like, that has to be going somewhere. That somebody's getting that. Management's getting that. I don't know who management is. I don't know if that's one person or 5 people, but $1.4 million, that's definitely a salary for sure. That could be like 10 people's salaries for sure. So 10 people's salaries, that would be $140,000 a piece, if that is what's going on here. I mean, this is the Hudson Center, so I could be wrong. Maybe they're just spending $1.4 million for outside employees. I'm not sure. Again, accounting, they have almost 12,000. This is, once again, guys, the Hudson Center. Guys, this is the Hudson Center, not Intact America. But I'm just saying, if you just look at how much you're spending on management, that just seems like a lot. Like, this one here is 1.3 million. This is in 2022. This is the Hudson Center. $1.3 million in management. Like, what? Who's managing what? Like, what's there to manage, you know? It just seems like a lot to me, but I could be wrong. I guess I'm just poor. I guess spending $1.3 million a year on management seems like a lot. But once again, I would love to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this management cost from Intact America and the Hudson Center, do you think that that is going to Intact America employees or the Hudson Center employees? Is that what you think is going on? If not, let me know what you think down below. All right, guys, and there is a third theory. And that third theory is that Intact America just doesn't pay their staff or themselves. And if that's the case, if Intact America doesn't pay themselves or their staff, then who is management? Because it seems that someone is getting paid 6 to 7 figures then a year. Like, or something, some entity. I don't know. I mean, you know, and if that's the case, maybe you shouldn't live in one of the most expensive places in the world to do intactivism, you know? But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I'm just a dumb VTuber. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on intactivists getting paid a very livable wage? Like, you know, 2 steps above livable wage. Does that make you guys feel good? Does that anger you? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Add me. Once again, I don't know if Intact America is doing that, but hey, like, does that make you feel worse or better if they did pay their staff? Would that make you feel like, oh wow, at least our intactivists are well supported and cared for? Also, what theory do you subscribe to? What theory do you think is correct? Do you guys have your own theories? Please let me know down in the comments as well. And if you have any information on this, that would be awesome to know. I appreciate you guys watching this. All right, you guys have a great one. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, bye.